Good morning. Welcome to the 225 edition of Coffee and Coin. I apologize that I'm a little late and also that this will be a short stream because Natasha is not with us today. And so without my wingman, I am going to need to focus my energy on my own training. On my own trading. But I did just want to pop in and kind of go over some things. I've had a morning on the phone trying to get some things rectified with my cell phone, and I actually just hung up from them. But I did want to look at some things. Yesterday, I was interested in Tim's earnings, and they came on my radar because of some politician trading. However, they did not make earnings yesterday and have now dropped into just below the 50 Fibonacci level between the 21 and the 50 moving average on the daily chart. So that is significant in that is an area where we frequently see a reversal. And so now, having drawn my fib from the low of, we'll call it January 15th to the high of about February 18th, I would probably at this point be looking for a retrace to 50.62 or the 200 moving average before we make some more progress to the upside. But I wanted to take a look too at what was actually appreciating this morning, what was green this morning, just to see if we can get a sense of what sectors they may be rotating in or what may have some positive momentum for this morning. So obviously, NNOX, I've been in this stock since IPO, but for some reason, it is up 9% this morning. That is probably the first time that's happened in multiple years. So let me see if I can get an idea. Okay, this would have to be it. Imaging system receives CE mark, expanding medical imaging offering in the European market. So what might that do? In order to figure that out, I would go to a higher time frame chart, draw a fib. We are right at, okay, we bounced at the 886 level. And so an easy target on this for me from here would be my 200 moving average, which is at 689. That's not a lot of movement, but I do expect that we'll get as high as the 50. And so the 50 is at 815. That is decent. I would potentially, if I were you, see what the contracts look like on that. The other things that I'm seeing seem to be, number one, things that have reported earnings. Audio I, Beam is in, okay, so biotech, health technology seems to be moving. For some reason, Jet AI, China is on the incline again. I don't know. I think that this is a fake out. I should talk about what has been going on. I want to show you guys this real quick. What has been going on in the market? And Natasha and I typically have a call early in the morning, and we just talk about some things that we're seeing, what we might want to look at for the day. But what we've been talking about for several weeks is kind of this pattern that you see in SPY, where you get a gap down and then it goes up, and then you get a movement down and it goes up. But these is just almost identical. And so this would be like DeepSeek. And then this gap down is tariff news. And so and these are every week. January 24th, January 31st, that is exactly a week apart. February 7th, that is exactly a week apart. And now this time, I think that we have basically gone 2 weeks But my expectation here, based on what I'm looking at on this chart, is actually that we're going to trade into lower levels. And so I just use fib levels as an easy way of finding targets. But certainly looking at 593, potentially all the way back down to 580. So we will see, but I will probably be looking to short SPY at some point today, see what it looks like on a lower time frame. One of the things that I train the people in my mentorship to look for is this pattern, or our mentorship, I should say, this pattern of stocks breaking the 200 moving average. And then every time they return to the 2150, they trade off again. And so you can see here, it traded into the 21 moving average, created a lower low, traded back into the 21 moving average, created a lower low. And that pattern is giving me the expectation that we will get another lower low. We've traded back into the 21, and our lower low would probably be about 593 for the day, barring some news that's going to move this in the other direction. As I said, I've been on the phone with Xfinity Wireless all morning, and so I haven't had much of an opportunity to look at news. But let's look at Bitcoin, because I've been talking about this probably for 2 months, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I actually want to look at Bitstamp. And what I had noticed was that we traded in between the 0.236 and zero point 0 fib level for a significant amount of time, and that now we had moved back, as of yesterday, we had moved back with this candle into the 236 to 382 level. And so I noted to Natasha earlier that, or yesterday, that we could either from here trade back up and try to take the next level, which would be to 123, or that we would trade into my level, which was that 87,564. So obviously we traded into the price target that I've been calling for, I don't know, it's probably been a good 2 months now. And we wicked up. But I am not convinced. Like I said, barring some significant positive news, or I should say, I'll say it a different way. I think at this point, we need some significantly positive news to make the market turn back. The other thing that would make the market turn back is just hitting these levels, reaching these lower retracement levels. And so my expectation now that we've hit this level, and we've been making pretty consistently lower lows and lower highs with one exception, is that we may very well trade into this 81 fib level at the 0.5. But in terms of support, I've been saying this as well, that below here, the low of this candle is 86,685. Below 86,685, there is no support till about 73,000. So there are your possibilities. Follow what I'm saying. I might have said it too fast, or you might not be familiar. But I consider this a tiny area, like a 5-day area of support at this level. We stayed above it for months. And now that we've broken it, if we should trade below the lows of these candles, which are like 86,685, 87,119, there is no further support until you get down into the, call it 75 to 73 level, for what that's worth to you. And I think that obviously that will impact stocks like Marathon, Riot, Coin, possibly Hood. Somebody asked me this morning about XRP, and I kind of gave them the same explanation and shared my screenshot with them. We traded up into actually above the zero level. So after all of this consolidation, downward consolidation, we bounced We tried to make my first profit target. We could not. We fell to the 0.5 fib level. We consolidated in here. Now that we've fallen back to this zone, my honest expectation is that we'll go again to 174.6 and potentially as low as 145.42 for what that's worth to you. Now, let's see, go back to what is moving in the stock market. And so if I were you, and I'm not going to stay on long, I'm going to get off shortly because, as I said, I want to, when Natasha and I are here, when I'm looking at trades or looking at the options chain, she's able to kind of keep you guys occupied or be talking through that time. But because she's not here, I'm not going to make you sit here while I'm just quietly trading. So what I would be looking for is exactly what happened here. Now, Doc End happened to make their earnings yesterday, but what I think is more significant than that to me is this is the setup that I am going through this 280 or so ticker watch list looking for. I want to look for something that has retraced all the way into my 200 moving average and Fibonacci levels below the 50 fib level. So this one has wicked at the 71, but almost reached the 79. And so that's what I would be looking for if I were you. These are the 200, 50, and 21 simple moving average. And if you're looking for bullishness, and you can see Doc N is now all the way up at 44.99 from 36.79 yesterday. So what you're looking for is something that has reached its higher time frame 200 moving average and is also at a Fibonacci level. Otherwise, I would be looking for short opportunities. And so some of the things that we've shorted recently have been Amazon. I think Amazon can still move to lower levels, as low as potentially as low as 200. And I won't explain all of the factors, but your 200 moving average is down here at actually like 198. We took a short on Google. That might have been yesterday, might have been Friday. Google is almost at its 200. So, excuse me, for me, that's not a lot of trading range. It is at $3 at this point. But let's just throw a fib. It's at the 618 Fibonacci level. So I think we'll get to about 176, 175. But again, that's not enough trading range for me. We have traded Oklo to the downside. See that nice double top there. But if you put a fib on this chart, and I would draw it there, you can see that while we're not at the 200 moving average, we are sitting solidly on the 50 moving average, and we're at some key retracement levels. So it may be that it's time for Oklo to turn around, but possibly not, because if we move this fib, then our levels change, and it shows that we could get much lower. But I believe is this a nuclear stock? Yeah, the stock has something to do with nuclear. So on that one, we're really waiting for Trump to say something positive about his stance on energy. What else do we have here? Got about 2 more minutes. So you can see all of the miners are down. Now, this is interesting. That HUT is at its 200 moving average on the daily, which is also a higher time frame key fib level. Let's see if we can find some correlation. Nope, Mara is below. Riot is also below. Coin is basically also below. after positive earnings. So all of this is just the impact of Bitcoin. And as I said, my expectation is that Bitcoin will reach lower levels. It may do a lot of consolidation before that, but that is my expectation. What else do I want to look at? I can almost guess what it's going to look like, right? All right, here's something we can possibly draw some conclusions. So my favorite fib level is the 0.886. MicroStrategy has not reached it yet, but it is awfully close. But there's also the potential that we could get into the 200 SMA, which is at 229. That is a significant amount of range. And so even from where we are now to the 886 is $13 of range. That is a worthy trade to the short side. But you would have to complete your top-down analysis and look at those other two time frames to find your entry. So remember earlier I talked about 925 breaking the 200 moving average and then using the 2150 as resistance. And so again, another example, and you'll see these all throughout your charts. We broke the 200 and now we're using the 2150 as resistance. So every time we trade into them, we trade off. Traded into them here, created a lower low. Again, it created a lower low. So what I would be patiently waiting for is another return into the 2150 moving average zone and then a lower low down to about 254, 253-ish. There was something else. Last thing, and then I'm out of here. I'm going to go sign into my accounts. Same thing on Tesla. You can see we created this double top here, and then we trade into the 2150 and we create a low. We trade back in, we create a lower low, we trade back in. This is an equal low, so that's interesting. But I would be expecting here to get a lower low. And where is the floor is the question. That's scary. Let's see if we can get another perspective because there really is no fib level down here. But let's go up a time frame. 200 moving average is all the way at 276.39. I believe that Tesla could go there. I mean, there are enough negatives about Tesla that it could very well reset down into that area. Let's see where we are. Get this out the way. So support is about, let's call it 300. With this area here and this area here, there's some support. So it does kind of look like we'll be able to trade Tesla down to 300. And if that were to be the case, that would be my moneymaker. I'm going to start just dialing in on one or two trades because I'm starting to miss a lot of the entries that I want to take. Kind of doing this analysis for you guys. So I'm probably going to dial in on this potential on Tesla. And I have some interest in SMCI. Like I've been saying, I do think that they'll produce that paperwork that they need today. I don't know if it'll be legitimate paperwork, but I do wholeheartedly believe that they will produce something to maintain their listing status. And so those will be the two things that I'll be focused on this morning. SMCI and Tesla. So just real quick before I go, SMCI might get as low as 46 where the 200 moving average is, but I would expect a bounce from there. Just like I said, based on I do believe that they will submit that paperwork before the end of the day. And it is seconds until the market opens. So thank you guys. And I'm pretty sure Natasha and I will be back tomorrow.